Okay, hello Jay.
How's it going?
Nice to have you here on the podcast.
Good to be here.
We know each other for a longer time, but I'm glad that I can finally speak to you on a podcast and that we can have a chat about everything. I want to start, Jay, with first, what's your story? How did you end up here? We're here in a garden in Belgium. How did you end up here in Belgium in September 2025?
It was a short flight. We started off our coaching relationship where I was coaching you and Peter.
Yeah.
And I guess after sort of a year of doing that, we attended together a mastermind in Marbella. And then it's kind of become a yearly thing. But this year, Marbella, I couldn't make it because I was ill.
Yeah.
And so you and Peter created this one at Peter's pretty incredible home in Belgium. And here we are, the usual crew that would be at the mastermind, but we're here doing it in Belgium this time.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And Jay, tell me more. What's your story? So you are a mastermind performance mindset coach.
Yeah.
How did you end up doing that?
It's a long story. I guess
Take us to the key points in your journey.
Yeah. So I guess the key milestones. So growing up, really heavy social anxiety, bit of a difficult childhood. Became like that problem child, trying to find how I sort of fit into life. And I studied psychology at university as a way to figure out why I was the way I was. Why am I finding things so difficult compared to what I perceived other people as seeing their journey? And I did psychology. I loved the way that I could understand how things worked. Not just like, oh, why am I like this? But what is actually happening within my mind, in my body, the way my thoughts work, all of that stuff. And understanding that really helped me to take control of it, identify it, label it, and then actually separate it away from myself. So it wasn't, this is who I am. It's like, this is what's happening, and this is how my body and my mind is reacting to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, understanding how that worked, doing psychology, I saw the power of that as I went into the corporate world. This is 17 years ago now.
Yeah.
And I've continued to study in the space, like looking at neuroscience, cognitive behavioral techniques, NLP, going into all of this stuff that most people will look at. And it did make me realize that psychology at university really was just a memory game. How much can you remember to answer questions at the end? The real learning started when I was able to implement it, continue my learning outside of the uni.
On yourself.
Yeah, exactly that.
It's great that you always had that curiosity, even at a young age, that you say you were researching how you feel like you feel or why you do certain things. And I think that's the drive that kept you going. I heard like you're always interested and generous curiosity. Yeah.
I mean, I think initially it was out of desperation because I felt like I couldn't carry on living the way I was living.
Okay.
Restricting the way I lived, like reducing my ability. So, for example, there were certain things that I did in school where you'd run races and it got to the point where you'd stand on a podium if you came first, second or third. And there were some races where I had social anxiety that bad, I didn't want to win. I remember a specific race. I was in first place and I must have been 300 meters away from the finish line. And this is cross-country, long-distance run, 300 meters away from the finish line. And I faked passing out.
That's crazy.
So that I didn't have to stand on the podium just because the anxiety coming up as I saw the finish line, anxiety was getting crazy. And in my head, I had this, I'm going to stand on that podium. Everyone's going to be looking at me and I'm feeling super anxious and weird. Yeah. So I just fell on the floor and pretended to pass out.
It's crazy that you at a young age you think like that, and then that's all the way you came to what you are now, and that the changes that you made. Like if you say that, you wouldn't say that when I know you, and you wouldn't say that you were like that. So that you must have gone a long way to progress through that.
I think what it is once you start to understand that most of the limitations that we have are created from your perspective. And sometimes it's your perspective of what the outside world's perspective of the situation is. Yeah. And it's what will people think if I do this? And it's not real.
It's not real. It's all in your mind.
Exactly.
You think it's going to be like that, but then it's totally different, or other people experience it in a different way.
Exactly that. And the reality is most things that you actually want to achieve are, it's a cheesy saying, but are just on the other side of the fear that you're feeling.
Yeah.
And if you challenge that fear and step into it anyway, then often what you'll find is that the thing that's been holding you back and the reality that you thought you were going to encounter when you faced this challenge, often it wasn't there.
Yeah.
It's like the scary monster in a movie.
Yeah.
You know, watching the movie doesn't mean that when you go out your room, the monster's going to attack you.
Yeah.
It's not real. So the fear that you feel is towards something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's not real.
I think that's holding a lot of people back. And earlier you said that you couldn't keep living that way you lived. But I think for a lot of people it's like that. But how did you get to that insight or to actually take action to change something? Because I think that's a point, that's like the tipping point, and that's the most difficult one, because you can know that you don't want to live like that, but if you don't do it, it will not change.
Yeah, I mean, like they say, most people hit rock bottom to bounce back because you can't go any further down. The only way to go at that point is up. But I also think some people just have a genuine curiosity into what could be if things were different. And it's a good coaching question to ask people when they have a fear about something, and they have, usually what they'll do is catastrophize the outcome that they think is going to happen. And it's like, oh, you know, this will happen, I'll get embarrassed, or they'll tell me no and I'm going to look like a fool. And this is kind of what people think. But what if the opposite was different? What if the opposite was what actually happened?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I got to the point of thinking, where I hated life that much. I'd fallen into all these bad habits because I'd created a persona of somebody that I thought was cool and popular when I went to university. And I was trying to create that a little bit towards the end of school, going into university. And I just thought, what if the opposite was the truth?
Yeah.
What if these feelings and fears about what people think of me, the judgment that I've got, and people looking at me aren't judging me, they're literally just looking at me. There's no thought behind it. It's just happening. Like I would look at someone in the store. There's no other thought. I just see them and they pass by, and that's it. Moment gone and they're forgotten. What if that was the truth? And I thought I need to figure out a way to embody this and explore it and be able to have these thoughts more consistently.
Yeah.
And doing this, going through this process, that's kind of what pushed me to go, I need tools to be able to handle these situations. I can't keep going through life fearing a potentially false reality.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. How would you, for the viewers, how would you encourage people to take action on that or have that insight, but also really research it? Like you say, like, I can't keep living like this, but do something and see like other people, maybe it's the opposite. So how would you, what's one thing people can do to encourage that insight or to create that way of thinking? Because it's a way of thinking that you need to do yourself. If you hear it from someone and you are not on that mindset or that level, you will not understand it. So.
Yeah, I mean, anything in life that needs to be changed, the first step to change is always awareness.
Yeah.
If you're not aware of it, you can't even begin to put any resources or energy into it. So awareness, step one. Take stock of your life. Look at what is life like now, and if everything could go the way that you would love for it to go, what would life be like? And I don't mean, no money, no qualifications, nothing in life is going right. Oh, I want to have a Ferrari and £1 million in the bank. Not necessarily that kind of jump, but, I've got direction in my life. I've got a good family around me. I'm learning consistently, making a positive change. I've started a business or whatever it is. But those sorts of thoughts, and then you think, what's the difference between that you want to create and now? And what you'll find is that there are significant differences. And then you have to ask yourself, well, why are those things there? Why do those differences exist? And when you start to dig into that, usually you're going to have excuses. Oh, I don't have the skills. I don't have the money. This requires time. I don't know the right people. You'll come up with these reasons, justifications for why it doesn't exist. Yeah. And I think when you start to build those out, you're starting to pinpoint really what are limiting belief systems that have been created, borrowed, whatever you want to call it. And when you have those in front of you, that's when you can start to ask questions like, the thing that I think is true, that is the reason that I'm here and not there, what if the opposite was true?
Yeah, and then you can question your limiting beliefs, and then you can break through them with questioning them and take action on that. Because if you take action, you can possibly break through them, and it will change your mind. The same with, like in business, with revenue goals. If the first goal is always 10K per month, then you break it, and then you're like, okay, it's actually not that much or that hard.
Yeah.
and then you go to like 20, and then you're like, okay. And then now for us, it's like 100 is the next step. It's like so far and so limiting. It's not limiting belief, but we have to prove to our mind that it can happen, and then we will see like, oh, 100 is doable. So
that's it. And if we'd have started a year ago and I had said 100K a month is the goal, in 2 years' time, you'd have said, "What, man, that's crazy. Shut up." Yeah. But instead, we pushed on something like 10K and then 20K and then 30 because it seemed like more manageable bites to get towards, which gave you that belief that that's possible, and therefore I'm going to take the action steps to make it happen. Yeah. So you've created almost like you've reverse engineered the dream into something that's more realistic based on your current belief system, even though it still stretched you. And then as you push through those points, those milestones really rather than goals, your belief system changes. Like you break a belief system, and it's like, well, if I thought that wasn't possible and I've just done it, that means I could probably do the next one, and the next one.
It's like in gaming, you break through all the levels and you get one level up, and each level has new challenges and problems.
Every new level has a new devil, as they say. Like there's a new challenge, a new problem, a new difficulty, something you've got to learn, grow, overcome. At every new level, you know, initially it's a belief about starting a business. Then it's like making the money you want to make. Then after that, it's about maybe, can I build a good enough team? Then it's like, can I get enough clients to sustain having this team? And then there's something else like, am I contributing enough? I don't feel like I'm investing well enough. I don't understand this. I don't understand that. And there's always something that comes up, something new. And that's why there's always another level. Yeah. Always another level of growth.
I think also realization of that there's always something new can bring you in. So earlier today we talked about peace, but it can bring you some peace, because otherwise you're always chasing for the one thing, and then the one big end goal, I think that's not the way to go. If there's always something new and you accept that, but you also accept the journey and the problems towards that, I think that's the best way.
Yeah, I think it's important to have almost that you are content with what you have now. You have gratitude for what you have now, and you recognize that what you have now is something that you probably wished for many years ago. And the fact that you have it, if you can become content with what you have, that doesn't mean you're going to settle with what you have, but it means that you are happy. You are grateful. And then it's the next stage is just, but I want to keep growing as an individual, because you do have to create space internally to allow things to grow externally as well. I like to use the analogy of like a pot of pens. And if we imagine that your body, your life, everything that you have right now that makes you feel the way that you feel is the pot. And all the things within that life, the things that you have, like the car, the money, the job, the girlfriend, whatever, they're the pens inside the pot. And there's no room for any more pens. And some pens are better than other pens. Some pens you're not that happy with, but they're okay, and it fills the gap. And that's what life is right now. But then what people will tend to do is they'll try and get these next things. So like this next level of wealth, or this next level of enjoyment or travel experience, whatever. And they're trying to shove this new, bigger, better, shinier pen into the pot. It won't work. We have to be willing to let go of something. And it's not always something physical. We have to be willing to let go of something within the pot to create space for the new pen. And the problem people have is that they think that it's a straight exchange. I make 3K a month now. Let's remove that 3K pen and let's put this 20K pen in there. Oh, great. But that's why people get disappointed and disillusioned, because it's not the reality. The reality is you get rid of the 3K pen, like you risk earning 3K a month. And that might be spending money on ads. So instead of keeping the money, you're spending it. Instead of investing the money into stocks, you're spending
it's out of the
ads.
comfort zone of the level to get to the next level.
And then what you actually replace it with is risk, fear, late nights, stress. And if you do that long enough, consistently enough, and you have the awareness of how to improve, and you keep taking those mini risks, then you will eventually put the 20K a month pen in there. And that's what people don't either realize or are not willing to accept as the reality. You have to create space, and then it's not a straight exchange. You have to risk what you already have to create space.
I think it's also in fear of what if it doesn't work out, or what if I don't get to 20K and now I put the pen out, like you said. I think that's the biggest thing that people question, like, what if it doesn't work, or they have the limiting beliefs that it can't work, but they don't take the risk, and of course it doesn't work if you don't take the risk.
And that is it.
And then they it didn't work, but yeah.
And sometimes sometimes it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If people don't believe that they can actually make it work, they will sometimes, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, sabotage themselves so that they can justify staying where they are. Yeah. So an example of this would be like sales calls, doing follow-up calls. People, like, let's say someone's doing 5K a month and they want to get to 10K. The only way you're going to do that is by making more sales. I mean, we could get creative and there's other ways, but let's say the most direct way to make that happen is make more sales. Mm-hmm. So in order to do that, you need to make more sales calls, speak to more people. But if you avoid the follow-up calls and you avoid doing the sales calls because you've got a fear of rejection, it makes you feel bad, you don't feel good, all this sort of stuff, then what you're actually doing is you're serving yourself in a way because your fear is getting rejected. So therefore, not making the calls, you're avoiding getting rejected, but you're also avoiding hitting the goal, which means you don't have to remove that pen.
Yeah.
So you can justify it. It's like, oh, well, do you know, if I'd have made the calls, I probably could have hit that. Yeah. But because I didn't make the calls, that's why I'm still here. So it's like I have control of the reason that I'm still here. Yeah. That means I'm choosing this, not I'm stuck here.
Yeah.
And that makes some people feel okay about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But I think you have to be aware from it. Yeah. It's all about awareness and the problems. Yeah.
Everything starts with that. Everything starts with the awareness.
Okay, interesting. And Jay, people know you also as an author, businessman. You have a property business, mindset, performance mindset, coaching community.
Yeah.
Author, like I said before, you wrote a book. I don't have it here, but I read your book. It's really, really good. A lot about sales and interesting. And how do you see yourself? Because you are so multi-facet in each area. Like in business, you have a lot of knowledge. You have you have 4 million in property.
About 4 million, yeah.
So how do you see yourself then?
Well, I mean, I think it's weird to say, like, when I decided to get into coaching, I got into it because, yes, I wanted to help people because I'd seen that I could do marketing and I could help people build their businesses to have an impact on people. And I knew that I had the skills to do it. And there was an element of that, but there's also an element of, I need to make money. I want to make money. I know how to make money. Let's do it this way. Yeah. So that's what I did. And then after a while, I recognized that some people get results, and this is probably similar to a lot of coaching programs. Some people do the program and get results. Some people do the program and get crazy results. Some people do the program and don't get any results whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Some people do the program and they don't really do the program, and they say that your program sucks and they want a refund. That's kind of the roles of people in a program. Mm-hmm. You have to ask yourself, if the program works for the majority of people, the problem is not the program. The problem is the individual. Yeah. And I recognized that in that we had a client that went from being scared to sell his program for $97 to now we got him to about 500,000 run rate. He's now at about 2 million run rate a year, doing incredible things. And the reality is I didn't really teach him much about strategy. It was about mindset, the fear of getting over the fear and doubt within himself about him being able to do what he could do and people valuing what he does.
Yeah. Okay.
So when I saw that, I started to transition more into focusing on the psychology side of it and still giving the strategy. Yeah. But after a period of time, I started to realize I'm enjoying this. I'm making some good money, but other than this, I'm having to work each day to make money. So that's when I got into property. I built a property portfolio, built it to about 3 million, and more recently more towards 4 million. And then when I started to make the money in property, and this took a few years, I started to realize actually this is great earning money, but it didn't make me feel like what I thought it would feel like. Yeah. So therefore, that's when I went back into coaching and went specifically into performance mindset coaching, helping people to, overcome self-doubt, imposter syndrome, anxiety, and unlock those new levels of performance and revenue. And that's what I really dug into. And this is where I'm really seeing crazy results for people. So I don't know exactly how I would label myself because I do what I do because I love it. Yes, I want to make money. Of course I do. I want to make money because it's lifestyle, it's freedom, it's choice, it's contribution, it's all of those things. But I think most mindset coaches today, if that's what we want to put a label on it, most mindset coaches today are coaches. I think because of the journey I've gone on, I've built businesses, I've built property, I've worked with over probably 600 business owners now.
Yeah.
I would say I'm more of a performance mindset mentor. I've probably been where a lot of the people that I work with are trying to get to.
That's the strength, I think, because you have so much experiences, like also in the past with all the things you went through, the businesses, the studies, the research that you did for yourself, like all the more than 600 business owners that you coach, like this is like a unique combination. Like no other performance mindsets coach, let's now say coach, has gone through this experience, and this what makes you not a coach but a mentor. I think that's really a unique point into that. And really interesting with the business combination and the.
I think it works. I mean, I think it was your business partner, Peter, in fact, I think, that said to me, it's interesting that you understand the business side of things because you've not only taught it before, but you've done it. You've physically built businesses and successfully.
You know what it takes. And you know what struggles they go through.
Exactly.
If they go to someone, I have never done this and this is how I feel, they just focus on feelings, but they need to push through sometimes and it needs to happen. And with this, sometimes problems and feelings.
That's it. Dave McGowan said to me, he said, you are like the business therapist. You're the therapist for
That's
business
a good
owners.
word.
Because you get the mindset side of things and you get the business side of things. It's like most business coaches will speak to their clients and they'll say, you need to do more sales, do strategy. And then you've got mindset coaches that will just say, you just need to think more positive thoughts. But you actually say, what you're doing over here makes sense. You need to increase or optimize your performance. And I understand why you feel this way with your relationship impacting your business. This is how I've dealt with it. And what I recommend to you.
I think now more than ever, business is a reflection of you as a person, especially in the beginning, because you are the business. And that's why it's so important. And also in the VBA, when we met you, it helped a lot with all the things that you say and did. So, thank you for that. And it helped a lot. But Jay, on your business, so the Foxstone property business is your main focus?
No, I'd say not. So my focus in property now is mostly around content, around working with investors, because we know that we can provide. You have to be careful how you say this because of financial laws, but ultimately we work in a similar way to a bank, but we know that we give great returns that I don't know. This is my opinion. I don't know of a bank that gives the same rates that we give.
Maybe they keep more for themselves.
So my focus is that finding investors that want to work with us, that want great returns without having to have any knowledge of property, lift a finger. It's just money in your bank. We can make great money for you. That's what we do. And then I also do the social media content and I find deals. That's my involvement. My partner, Naomi, she does everything else. She's a gem. She deals with everything. So because of that, I get to focus on the performance mindset side of things. And I'd say that that's where a majority of my time is spent, doing that side of things. And I'd say it's probably 2 hours a day with property.
Yeah. Okay. So your main focus is the community?
Community clients,
Community clients. And one question, Jay, what's one thing holding you back in that business to go to the next level?
I would say right now is brand and visibility, like the marketing side of things, I would say. The reason I say this is that I've got a lot of experience, many years of doing what I've done. Like I said, first started in psychology around 17 years ago. I've pretty much studied ever since then, really heavily for the past 6 years, coached a lot of businesses, over 600, worked with a lot of people individually, multi-million business owners, plus people starting out. I've got a lot of experience. However, it's only recently that I've decided to go in on this and create my own little community and stuff, start a new Instagram and all this sort of stuff. So online, my presence looks like I started 6 months ago.
So it doesn't reflect your experience.
Yeah, I'd say that's one of my limiting factors right now.
And would you say it's social media is then an area where you play small, or because you post a lot? I see a lot of videos passing by, or is it like you do a lot but it's just slowly growing? or it needs more time?
Yeah, I'd say there's definitely more I can do. Like I say, I've done a lot of business growth stuff, and I can definitely help people, but it's not something that I'm not at the pinnacle like you and Peter. You're at the top end of what is happening, the changes, the algorithm.
Yeah.
That's not me. I would come to people like you for that information. So I'm definitely not there. I've got a good community around me that I can get that information from. I would say for a business that really, I started this business, the Performance Mindset Community, and the new packages that I offer. I started in March this year.
Yeah.
So it's been like, what, 5-6 months? Yeah. So, I mean, in that time, the Instagram's grown to nearly 600 followers.
That's good, actually.
Yeah, over 100 community members.
Yeah, wow.
You know, so it's, in a way I can look at it and go, it's actually grown quite quick. But has it grown to reflect what I think I'm capable of doing, the impact that I want to have? No, it's a scratch on the surface. But I'm grateful for what it's become in this amount of time. But I know that it can be so much more. And that's why I would say that building a brand, getting more visibility, that's the key right now, especially in this space, like having social proof, trust, visibility. If you're not using video and putting yourself out there, using your personal brand to do this stuff, you're going to die in this industry. So I would say right now, I'm probably 10% at where I should be in that area.
Okay. And what would then, to the 100% version of you, like let's say 500K per year, what would the 500K per year company version of you look like?
I think it comes to, honestly, outsourcing a lot of the work. Okay. Like still having that personal touch where I'll still do lives and they'll be raw, unedited, just showing up, walking my dog like I do at the moment, those types of things, just talking about what's going on. But it'll be about having someone actually come in and record the content consistently so that I've got content going out every day, but not just filler content, value content that actually delivers something. Having an editor, which is actually a step I've already taken now. Having an editor to do that work, having a strategy that's adjusted consistently, speaking on more podcasts, getting in front of more people, going to more network events, more masterminds, working with more communities, which is, again, something I've started to do. So I think it's more just about being visible and doing the work that is working on the business rather than in the business. I'll never step away from the mentoring people and the coaching.
I think that's the thing that you do it for. Also.
I enjoy it. Even if I could outsource it, it'd be difficult to find someone. I'm not saying they don't exist. For sure, I'm sure there's people better than me. But I think it's very difficult to find someone that has the experience in all the areas that I have that can deliver it at the depth and in the way that I deliver it. And even if I could, I don't know if I'd want to hand that off to someone, because I do this because that's the part I enjoy. You know, so,
and that's also what gives your personal brand is linked to your business, and maybe what people will pay for.
It'd be like going to a Tony Robbins event. And I know he does bring people on to cover certain sections, but it'd be like going to a Tony Robbins event and him not presenting anything. He's in all the marketing, but he does nothing. And how would you feel? I wouldn't be very happy with that.
That's crazy.
And I'm not comparing myself to Tony Robbins, but you get the idea. Like, people resonate
like
with
the
your
books
brand.
with Alex Hormozy a bit the same thing. That you have to pay another because you already paid, and then you have to pay for the shipping costs.
Exactly that.
Yeah. What's one thing about business, Jay, that you think is true and not a lot of people agree, or nobody agrees? Just some random questions that I wrote down some questions here. That's why I look sometimes on my phone. But
I would say that 80 to 90% of business problems are actually the symptom of a personal problem. Is what I would say. I think most people think that they need, when something's not working in their business, they think they need a new strategy, a new coach, a different approach, change their offer, change their price. It's the market, it's the government. We assign blame to something, and it gives us justification to either step away and almost retreat, or to chase another shiny object. Whereas I think the reality is, like, your outer world is often a reflection of your inner world, and we have to look at what is